Well, of the three of us, one of us is most disappointed from this weekend. And would you expect it's the person who's highest up in the table? This is Red Card Radio. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League from three friends this week who support different clubs. My name is James. I support Arsenal. With me tonight, that's Brad. He supports Chelsea. Down below, that's Sean. He supports Tottenham Hotspurs. Boys, hello. Brad, welcome back. I'm glad that you made it out of customs.
Thank you. It was a hard fought position, but made it out.
Did you lose your passport or something, or?
Yeah. And then they had to double check my bags. It was awkward.
How was Newark?
Terrible. Don't recommend it.
Yeah. Anyway, I couldn't. New Jersey? Ugh. Icky. Who could? Not me. None of our listeners, especially none of our listeners in New Jersey. No, there's no way.
I would take umbrage. If you were talking about Arsenal in the intro, they aren't the highest out of our clubs.
That's a fair point.
You're gonna need to score more than 5 goals to do that.
Well, the good thing for us and all the loyal listeners is that the league table is perfectly irrelevant for the next 7 weeks. I was, and the reason why I misspoke was because it is irrelevant and I haven't looked at it yet. But I guess that means Spurs have 7 points. I have no idea. Does Chelsea have more than? I don't have any clue how many points Chelsea has.
I'll run you down a quick.
Before you do that,
little table if you want.
Before you do that, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube, ring the sub notification bell, drop a comment down below, join our Discord. It's in the description. If you're on one of the podcast sites, all the stuff I just told you is also true on the description for your audio listening pleasure. But then follow, 5-star rate, review, all that stuff that podcasts let you do that YouTube doesn't. And last caveat, sheets of integrity. You guys need to get your sheets of integrity submission in by Saturday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because we are an Eastern Standard Time people. The transfer window in England closes on Friday, so we were giving you guys 24 hours. After that, it's going to be more like 36 or to 30 hours or something, but whatever. It closes Saturday at 11:59 Eastern Time. Yeah. So without further ado, this is going to be our review of match week 3. 10 games were played. They are scrolling along the bottom of this video. If you're on one of the podcast sites, just open up Google while you're listening to it. If you're driving, don't do that. If you're driving, wait until you're safe. But you can.
Only if you're in a Tesla.
Well, yeah, you got that full self-drive mode. Go to town. Yeah. You're probably also looking at tweets right now, or excuse me, X's. You're looking at X's from your when you're full self-driving in your Tesla.
James, all my exes live in Texas. Do you want to hear this table so you can see where Chelsea is?
Sure, why not? You're going to do it anyway.
I know. I've been waiting for you to give me a moment that I could butt in, and a George Strait reference was about all I could pull. City, the only one on 9. West Ham, Tottenham, Liverpool, Arsenal, all on 7. Funny enough, only the top 3 of those who have the best goal differential drew the first weekend and then have won since, and you did the opposite. Brighton, Villa, United, all on 6. Brentford, Chelsea just Brentford on 5. Chelsea, Palace, and Fulham on 4. So that's 10 through 12th that I've just recapped. Newcastle did have a rough run into the season. So we called that before the season started. They'd got a tough stretch at the beginning. It's going to come together a little bit later. They're on 3, along with Forest, Wolves. Bournemouth, the lone last person in 16th with a point. And by person, I mean a team. They have 1 point. The following teams do not have a point: Sheffield, Burnley, Luton, Everton.
Now, quick question about Everton. They're the only ones without a goal, right? Everyone else has at least scored.
Yes.
Yes. Fair point to call that out and point that out. That's a little bit unfair to a few of these people in the bottom, because both Burnley and Luton have only played 2 games, so they haven't had a third chance to get points. Sheffield and Everton have both had 3 chances to get points, and they did not. However, only Sheffield have scored, and they've scored 2 goals, where Everton have not scored a single goal. They are -6.
We should also point out that Burnley, while they've only played 2 games and they're on 0 points right now, once they've played their game in hand, they will be on 3 points because it's a fact. You can take it to the bank that games in hand at Turf Moor are points in the bank.
That will launch them immediately up to 13th.
Yeah,
yes,
of course. All right. I'm glad that we did that, so we could get our games in hand FC reference in for the week.
Shout out Jimmy.
Shout out Luton Town. We're still waiting for those. Press passes for Kenilworth Road. Just
maybe it's because their first match week hasn't happened yet, so maybe they're trying to figure out where we're going to sit, and we'll get those passes as soon as they have their first home game.
Just saying, international window's coming up. The international break. You guys can get that all sorted. Remember, info.redcardradio@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Maybe they send it snail mail.
Oh, true. I don't think we have a physical mailing address. And who wants to shout out their mailing address on the podcast? Who's doing that? Who's doxing himself?
Just send it to DC United Stadium, and one of us will figure it out from there.
I think the Charlotte FC Stadium is probably proximity. We've got someone closer to the Charlotte FC Stadium than we do the DC United Stadium.
We can figure out either one. We're close enough we can sort that out.
All right. Speaking of Luton Town, we are kicking off this week. We're talking Chelsea, Luton Town. 7 minutes in, we're finally talking about results. So, Brad, you were not here last week. Sean and I were detailing the dire straits that Chelsea were in. The fact that Chelsea needed to have a positive result in a convincing result against Luton Town. That any kind of ambiguity or nervousness. A nervy finish in that game would not be good. And they did it. Raheem Sterling, second week in a row, looking really good. Chelsea win the game 3-0. What say you?
Yeah, Sterling looked great with his brace, driving at defenses. Like even when they sat in a low block, having a Sterling. Nico looked really, really good. Our striker. Homie is looking like a purchase for 32 mil. I'm super, super happy with him and everything he's been able to do.
I have a quick question. We're calling him Nico.
Oh, Nico Jackson. Yes, Nico is usually his first name.
Not Nicholas Jackson.
No, his name is Nico.
Oh, so because when you said Nico, I thought you meant Nico Williams of Liverpool fame, and I was like, what is going on here?
He's now on Forest.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And so
no, Nico Jackson. That is what his name has been. I think
never calling him that.
To the X's.
I just want to point out that we have already, this is in August, reached the point of the season that Brad is calling out the bargains on his club and not the $100 million. We're not calling out the $100 million ones. He's already got. I just want to shout him out for $32 million. We got to steal with this one. Never mind the $500 million purchases behind him.
No, don't look at the midfield. No,
Jesus.
No, the midfield. I mean, but
however,
nobody ever does talk about Enzo's price on that point.
On Nico's goal, I'll give you this. I'm going to oblige you on that one. On Nico's goal, Enzo had a superb outlet from midfield to Sterling.
Wasn't that gorgeous? That was so pretty. And Sterling just took it from there.
Took it one time straight to Jackson's foot.
Who got his foot in there? Like that's such like a striker poacher goal. After
having Werner for 3 years,
it was amazing.
All right, big picture, Brad.
Yes,
this was an expected result.
Correct. This is Luton Town. This is what we should have done. Yes.
Are you taking anything away from this result?
We got the 3 points. We got 3 goals. We were convincing. They only really had one chance. And Sanchez with his one punch, one save. All happened on the same shot. Was the only time I was a little bit nervous.
Can you please explain to me how on one shot you can punch and save a ball?
Because he punched it to save it. He punched it to save it.
And it like spun up in the air and looked like it was going to go behind him, and he caught it. So that's also a save.
You shouldn't get a save for that.
The punch is the save.
Okay. Counting it as both.
Yeah, I don't think that counts as a punch. I think that counts as a save. Brad's out here stat padding.
Both. We are. Yes.
Brad's like out here shooting, getting his own rebound, missing on purpose, getting his own rebound, missing on purpose, getting his own rebound, scoring. Trying to get a fake triple-double.
Yes, do it. I'm here for it.
All right.
But no, yeah, expected result. I'm happy. We got what we needed, and on to the next. We looked really good too. Like it was expected. Like right. We controlled the game. We looked really good, and we should because it's Luton Town. We should next week too, but that'll be later on.
Luton Town didn't expect to be here. You should beat them.
Yeah,
I agree. We should be smashing them 3-0. So
I think you got a significantly more difficult game next week, but we will address that later this week when we do our preview episode of Match Week 4. So you'll make sure you want to tune back in because I do think you guys have a significantly more difficult match coming up at the weekend. Sean, you have a question for me, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes. I was curious in our pre-production meeting, which is usually when I text everybody on Monday.
Monday mornings, yep. You get to work and you don't do any work for the first 2 hours. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, hold on. Does your boss listen to this? I mean, Sean's working real hard Monday morning.
He does not text us. We do not talk sports until 6 o'clock when
lunchtime.
He leaves.
That's
Lunchtime, and then not again until he leaves when he clocks out. He's a diligent worker.
Best thinking in as the drive home. Why do Arsenal stink?
This is like the 5th time you've asked me that question, and it's humorous every time. Okay, I'm less concerned overall with the result against Fulham. Obviously, we should have won the game, and so that's a disappointment. My bigger issues with Arsenal right now is we are very imbalanced. And everything, if you want to stop Arsenal at the moment, you just stop the right side, and we're not doing anything on the left side of the field. Perhaps this was kind of thrown for a loop when Jurriën Timber got injured, and we expected more ball possession from an inverted left back than we've been getting recently. Obviously, Zinchenko is still building himself back into fitness, and I expect Zinchenko to start at the weekend instead of Kivior. But last year we had a lot more attacking threat on both sides of the pitch. Whether or not that was Zinchenko inverting and playing behind Xhaka, who was very willing to hold the ball and progress on the left-hand side and then feed Martinelli, and Martinelli could get into play, or on the right-hand side with Odegaard and Saka and Ben White overlapping a lot. Right now, our wingers... It seems like Arteta wants both wingers to invert, and that seems like that's a mistake. Or excuse me, both fullbacks to invert and bring both fullbacks into the midfield. And then I guess you're pushing your Odegaards, your Kai Havertz further up into the attack, but you're not releasing any pressure. Like the wingers are under a lot of pressure, and they're not getting any overlapping runs from fullbacks, and so it's really breaking down play. Whereas last year, that was happening a lot on the left. You had a lot of play through the midfield on the left into Martinelli, and so Martinelli was having more one-on-ones. But now on the right, what you would have is Ben White overlapping a lot more, and so he would relieve pressure on Saka. But like none of that's happening right now, and it all boils down to the fact that that Kai Havertz is a very different player than Granit Xhaka. I'm not saying he's a bad player. Brad wants Kai Havertz to be a bad player for Arsenal. I'm not saying that. You do. No, but you do. And it's painfully obvious that you do, because every time Arsenal play, your first question is, oh man, how is Kai Havertz this weekend? Oh, he had a stinker. Still hasn't scored.
That's all Arsenal. That's all Arsenal Twitter is turning into, though.
No, but this is the most manufactured crisis.
Is it?
Yes, absolutely. Because the fan base is not turning on Kai Havertz. Like, get out of here. It's been 3 games. There was a moan when he missed a pass. There would have been a moan if Odegaard missed a pass and we were losing to Fulham. Like, the fans at the stadium are going to moan when a player misses a pass. But really, it's just like systematically, wanting all the fullbacks to both fullbacks to invert, not having overlapping runs, and then not having the same caliber or same style of player on the left in that left 8 role is really hurting Arsenal right now, because our attack is very one-minded down the right. And I would say that we have one of the best right sides in the league, one of the best right sides maybe in the world, between Odegaard and Saka. And if we get Ben White in the right back position instead of playing center back, then perhaps you can make an argument there. But we're imbalanced, and that's the biggest issue. I would like to see, because I think that Declan Rice has more of a Granit Xhaka style profile than Kai Havertz does. And so what we're all hoping for is against, who do we play this weekend? United. Okay, we play United. We want to see Ben White at right back. We want to see Gabriel and Saliba at the center back. And we want to see Zinchenko at the left back. And then we want to see Partey back at the 6, and then play Declan in the 8, in the left-sided 8 role. Let him be a little bit more freewheeling. Let him be a little bit more ball carrying behind. Who cares? Start Nketiah. I'm happy with Nketiah. Nketiah's had a great start. Start Jesus, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. But I would like to see that. Or if you want to play, and I said this after the first match week, if you want to play a more aggressive style against maybe a lesser team, perhaps, you would play Emile Smith-Rowe in that left-sided 8 role, and then kind of have a similar situation where you have Odegaard on the right, Emile Smith-Rowe on the left, and you've got 10s in both of those positions, letting them dictate the play. So I really think we're just imbalanced at the moment. We're not playing the right formation. For some reason, Arteta persists or insists on this Partey right back experiment. But if we do that against United, I think we're going to lose. I don't think we're going to beat United. I think if we play our best formation with our best players, we easily handle this Manchester United team easily at home, but it's a matter of doing that.
I got to follow. Oh, go ahead, Sean, because this is your line of questioning first. Then I have a question.
I was just going to say that I notice a little bit of that and take a little bit of the criticism in the same way that you do, that if you're going to invert both the fullbacks at the same time, and you are going to push the envelope all the way up the field in that manner, the way Tottenham have done and the way Arsenal have started the season, then don't expect Saka and Martinelli to have a ton of goals.
Yeah,
because they're just there to pull defenders.
They're on an island. They're on an island in the corner flag.
In the corner,
they got no place to go.
You're expecting Son, and that's what I've said about Son. And Kulusevski ended up with a goal this past week. But if we're going to crowd the box in the way that we have been, they're not going to. It's going to be all midfielders.
Yeah, because the thing is, if
they're the ones falling into the half spaces with the space to hit the ball.
If you're pushing defenders into the midfield, your wingers are going to get pushed out, and if not, then the midfield's going to be too congested. Like the middle of the park is just going to be too congested, and then that low block that you're playing against is just going to be able to compress, and it's going to make it a lot easier. You're not going to have enough width in order to do anything, and that's where the overlapping fullback is useful. But
I agree. I agree with that.
You answered your own question.
Why is it?
I forgot Tierney got loaned out because I was like, why is Tierney not been playing?
That makes me sad too. There's a lot of sadness going on.
But also, you spent 60 mil on Havertz, and you want to bench him for the next game.
Okay, fine. But I'm
just saying.
This is the narrative. Oh, you've benched him. Yeah, there's only 11 players allowed on the pitch at one time. I
get that.
Yeah, we bought Richarlison last year for depth. It's okay.
It's okay.
I don't think.
It's the going rate for a backup right now.
But imagine bringing Kai Havertz on in the 60th minute in that role. He's fresher. He's got more legs, and then you can change your style of play at that point if you want to be more direct or But right now, Arsenal were very, very good last year.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And I think a lot of that boiled down to the fact that Granit Xhaka was really, really good last year. And we need to replicate that. That's obviously an important position in this system. So I would like to see Declan Rice play there because Thomas Partey is one of the best central defensive midfielders in the world. And playing him at right back is a disservice to his skill set. Say what you will about him, but he is, I think you would be foolish to say he's not one of the best in the world. I'm not saying he's the best in the world, but I think he's one of the best in the world.
I'm not mad at you for it. I think I agree with you mostly. I just wanted to point out, I think Declan would do well in that role too. Like, let me be clear. Like, I think Declan Rice should be in that role. And Kai Havertz should be coming off of the bench, either as your backup center forward, one of the cam spots, like whatever position that he wants to play on that given day.
Yeah.
Because like I don't think we've ever been able to, and I know we're not like super good at this, but we've been watching long enough that we can usually identify a player's best position. I don't think we've ever determined Kai Havertz's best position.
You've obviously seen him play a lot more than I have. So
yes, I've seen him do the 8 roll, 10 roll, 9 roll, all of it. There wasn't really a best position, but yeah, no, my question was about Tierney and not playing, but he got loaned out, so that answers that question.
I did find it funny that the most common Liverpool for Eze compilation. Well, it was a slow motion video. It wasn't compilation, but it was from week 1 when Eze cuts back on Rice.
Oh yeah.
And
week
then
2,
splits the split. Oh, sorry, it was week 2. Cuts back on Rice, splits the gap, and it's Partey that he's splitting the gap with. Once the camera comes in, you realize it's both of them who are supposed to be defensive. Top 5, 6 in the league, center defensive mids, and he's dicing them both to the point that he gets fouled.
To be fair, he wasn't fouled. There was no foul on that play.
Was no foul on that play? Come on.
No,
to step in.
There was no foul. There was no foul called on the field.
Yeah, it's just like there was no foul on Romero this week at the Spurs game.
Timeout. That was very different.
There's a red card all day long.
For Romero, yeah, sure, but not. There was no foul in the.
Correct. I do think
no
there
foul
was
in
a
the crystal.
penalty for Eze. I think Eze.
He initiates the contact on Partey's thigh. Anyway, speaking of Liverpool, I'm glad that you brought up Liverpool because oh boy, was there a barn burner at Newcastle this weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
So game ends. Liverpool wins the game 2-1. But that is if you just say that, if you just were to say Liverpool beat Newcastle at St. James's Park in a vacuum, they won 2-1. You say that in a vacuum, everyone's like, okay, yeah, I can understand that result. Newcastle were up 1-0 in like the 26th minute or something like that, and then in the 28th minute, Virgil van Dijk gets a straight red card. Much to Tamzid's chagrin. As he pointed out in our Discord. However, I think, Tamzid, your read of the adjudication of the foul, saying why it should only have been a yellow card, slightly misplaced because the foul did take place outside of the box. And so it was adjudged to be a denial of a clear goal scoring opportunity outside the box. That's a straight red card offense. So Liverpool down to 10 men. They level the game, and then Darwin Nunez gets a brace and wins the game for Liverpool in the 94th minute or something like that. What a result! What a result for Liverpool.
Did he come on?
That's one of those moments in the season where it's one of those galvanizing ones of like, we're not losing points here.
You know what the worst part about that for Liverpool is?
It's in August.
I was going to say it's a week before the international break starts, right? So it's could you imagine doing that at like the beginning of like the Christmas run-in or something like that? And then you got all this fire going into the New Year's and you got all the way into February before that next international break. Yeah, so like I agree with you, Sean. It's like look what we can do, and then in a week they're going to get shipped off all across the world to go play in worthless nation league tournaments or whatever.
That was their game. Was it against you guys or was it against United? Where somebody really riled up Trent and then
Xhaka. That was Arsenal.
Oh, it was Arsenal.
Xhaka was talking smack.
Okay,
and got smacked down.
Everyone on Trent, and it really brought the team together. And then for the rest of the season, they were on a torrid pace that led them to Champions League. And maybe they brought that into the new season.
Well,
and maybe it's completely fabricated.
Almost to Champions League because they are. If you were to check the Europa League Twitter account, all you've got is Liverpool Cups.
Almost Champions League.
Almost Champions. I think that's
Tamzid's favorite followed account is the Europa League.
It's so funny. It's Tamzid, I don't mean to laugh at you, but it's really funny when you just respond to "please stop" to all of the Liverpool videos that they post. I mean, like, Brad, you were joking before we started in our pre-production meeting about how I had a caveat about how I thought Chelsea would eventually come good, and I had the same caveat for Liverpool later in the same episode. Anyone who's sleeping on Liverpool this year, I think, is doesn't understand what this Liverpool team is. Yeah, like they go through phases, but it's only a matter of time before this team is a juggernaut. Like, this team is a juggernaut, and they are going to be good this year. They're going to be good.
That was evident in our 1 through 20s, our selection.
Yeah, us at least.
I think all of us. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we all had them pretty high
because
up.
I pointed that out in the Discord. Is that I look back and none of us picked them less than third.
Yeah,
I had them second. You two had them third. None of us believed in the Klopp 8-year decline. Or 7-year if you're superstitious.
Well, that only Brad's the only one who brings that up.
I'm the one that's been that. Yeah,
Brad's on that weirdness.
My horse.
All of us were picking them.
Yeah,
in the top 3.
It was a great week of football. If I'm being completely honest, I mean, the Sheffield United City game, Rodri, so Haaland misses a penalty in the first half. He scores early in the second half. Sheffield United equalize in like the 85th minute, and you're like, oh dang, they're gonna steal 2 points from United from City here. They're gonna draw the game, get a point, and then Rodri answers like almost immediately, like 2 minutes later. So that was a great game. Who had West Ham
beating Brighton,
dunking on Brighton this weekend?
Yes, with 7% possession or something crazy. I don't think that's a super exaggeration.
That was on no one's bingo card. No one's bingo card.
22%. Sorry, 22% possession.
I joked last week or the week before about if you go into the Amex lacking confidence, they will embarrass you. They will embarrass you.
West Ham said, "We don't care. Have the ball. We don't want it."
Right. Yeah. Like, West Ham is playing scrappy. Like,
it was the definition of counterattacking football.
Yes.
Forest
what they've been doing.
Forest was up 2-0 on Manchester United for a very long time in that game.
Should have won that game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or at least drawn it. They should have at least drawn it.
Or something. Yeah. Then they had a red card.
Shout out to Anawobi or Anawoni.
Yeah.
He has scored in like the first 5 minutes of all 3 games. It's been incredible. It's been at least the last 2 weeks. It's been the first 5 minutes.
He's the third African player to score in 7 straight games.
Yeah.
It was 4 last year and 3 this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw that stat. I was like, wow. Let's go.
Like, I mean, this was a great weekend for football. We have another great weekend coming up so you'll have to check back with us later this week. On Thursday, we've got this a preview episode of Match Week 4. That's the last one before the international break. So definitely check back with us. Hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you enjoyed this weekend. Join the Discord. Do the Sheets of Integrity. All that good stuff. Hit us up on Twitter. That guy in the blue is at KSBradG. Down below, that guy's at Whiteheart_Sean. I'm at James Tiffany. Collectively on X, we are at Redcard_Radio. You can find us on Instagram, Brad, is that correct?
Yes, on the gram.
It's at Redcard_Radio as well?
Correct.
So
we're at Redcard_Radio everywhere.
That's us everywhere. Brad's going to be doing TikTok soon, I'm sure. He'll be doing little dances or something. I don't know. So we'll see. Sean's head will explode if Brad texts us and says we have a TikTok. Sean will explode. He
will be so upset.
All right, that's all we got for you guys. Check back on Thursday. Share this with a friend, and we'll see you guys on the preview episode. Have a good one.